Welcome back to the PI Show, viewers. It's that time of the show when we've got Kathy's mailbag. Good evening, Kathy. How are you?
Good, thank you, Tony. Good evening, Nunzio and viewers.
What do you think of the show?
To be honest, I thought Neil was fantastic, although I'm very, very concerned. It's almost like Big Brother is watching our every move, and it scares me.
It is.
Thank God I don't have a claim.
In fact, as a plaintiff personal injury lawyer, my biggest concern's always been clients that come to me and say, I never do anything wrong. And it's those that say that I'm worried about the most because they don't realise, they think they're never going to get caught out. And it doesn't take much, does it?
I don't think they realise how critical it is, not only to their case, but with the information they actually provide us as lawyers. Yep. Because there's a lot of information that when we find out the last minute, and you pointed that earlier as well, we find out pretty much on the day of court. Or during the court proceedings, and it's absolutely terrible when we're not aware of it because we can't assist.
That's years of work that we've done for the client, and all down the drain because of it.
It's tragic that a lot of people tell stories without giving you the full picture. When they go to doctors, they don't give the full picture. They might have had a back injury 20 years ago and they failed to disclose it. Just say it. You've lost. You're not going to lose anything because at the end of the day, you've kept working. And
it also assists credibility when you've actually admitted it. But I think I'd rather have Neil on our side than on the defendant's side, is what I've come to the conclusion of today. But anyway, it's time for the mailbag, and we've got some questions to get through. So the first question comes from Steve from Doreen. He says, to the PI Show, we just got a dog from the pound. We were told it was a friendly, unaggressive dog. However, almost as soon as we got home, it bit my teenage daughter very badly, leaving her with scars on her arms. Do we have any recourse to damages? Now, Nunzio, this question is going out to you. Friendly, unaggressive dog that bites teenage daughter immediately. That is terrible. Obviously, we don't know the severity of the injuries, but what would you say to Steve in this instance?
Well, there's two issues. One is obviously who's at fault, and the second issue is also the severity of the injury. Now, with regard to fault, arguably the pound is at fault because they've made a representation that this dog won't be aggressive. It's a harmless dog.
It didn't take long to attack.
And as soon as it got home, it bit the daughter. So that's one issue. And the second issue, as we know, with public liability matters, you need 5%, a whole person impairment.
That's for the scarring.
For the scarring. Now, will she get over 5% for the scarring? Look, without seeing it and getting her assessed, you won't know.
She might get 10% psych.
Look, on a teenage daughter, a girl, it can impact them psychologically, and you won't know. You need to see how it all progresses.
I got bit in the butt when I was 8 and I still remember it.
Well, thank God that hasn't affected you psychologically, Tony.
Some say it
would. But I think also photos would play an important part at this point too, like in terms of the injuries that have been caused, but to seek medical advice.
Yeah, look, it's just recent, so we'll have to have a look at it once it stabilises and settles down to see.
The only thing I'll say is
long-standing issues.
It's interesting that this thing about being told by the pound that the dog's unaggressive, I think that's very important.
Of course.
And so there might be a claim.
Yeah, because if it was an aggressive dog, you might have to do some training and,
that's exactly right.
How to temper the dog, and you wouldn't.
Well, you wouldn't have taken a dog home in the first place.
Exactly right.
Or if you did, you would have actually had restraints on the dog, and you wouldn't allow it to
I don't think a parent would have bought a dog that's aggressive
with a teenage daughter around the house.
Yeah, forget it. It's not going to work.
But well, we hope that your daughter gets better, Steve.
And get advice.
Absolutely. Moving on to our second question for tonight. Dear PI Show, my son is severely autistic and is cared for at a home by disability carers. Last time we went to visit him, we noticed bruises on his arms and that he had lost weight. We're concerned about his treatment. Does personal injury have a role to play? Now, that's a very interesting question, Tony. I'm going to ask you to answer this. This is for Mary in Croydon. That's a very sad set of circumstances.
It's a very sad case, and I guess it comes back to the Wrongs Act again. These bruises, is it because he was bashed? I don't know. It's hard to say. If he's been assaulted, then you don't need 5%, do you, Nuts?
That's right. But also lost weight, so there could be an issue of not feeding
well,
properly.
Not looking after him.
Malnutrition.
So
not looking after him.
We've done an episode on this, so there could be some issues there in this case.
I think so. Yeah, it's something that you'd want to look at. But if he's severely autistic, well, he'd still know that he's been attacked, wouldn't he?
It all depends on the degree of autism, and that comes down to each and every plaintiff. We don't know that until we speak to them.
And the real problem you're going to have here is what evidence are you going to be able to introduce? I mean, chances are you won't be able to give evidence.
No.
So it's going to be what, just medical evidence?
Yeah.
There might be witnesses, there might be other people in the same home that have been similarly assaulted.
Yeah, there might be other families that have got the same concern as well.
Yeah, chain of investigation.
You'd probably have to speak to other family members of people that are in that home just to see what sort of treatment, because there's been a lot of elderly nursing homes being investigated in New South Wales and Victoria in the last, say, 12 months.
Yeah.
And here we've got disadvantaged autistic kids.
Tony, would you say that Mary should actually write to the home and ask for more information, or at least alert them to the fact? Or?
I think I would get the advice of a lawyer, then at that point in time probably go to the home. But you'd also want to get a copy of a file. They keep files, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you'd probably want to speak to other people that have got family members in that home, just to work out. I think it's alarming that they're losing weight, so they're not feeding them, and you got bruises.
Okay. I think this is a case...
Not in one spot, arms, so it looks like they're being bashed.
This is a case, I think, as it goes on, you get more information, so you just won't know the whole outset.
It's disappointing.
Best to seek legal advice so that someone can assist you with that, Mary. We hope that...
Not one arm, both arms.
And that he puts on some weight as well for his health. We've got a question now from Sam, who's from Moonee Ponds, to the PI show. My son was recently playing on play equipment during recess when he slipped and injured his elbow, damaging the growth platelets within. We inspected the playground and believe that the equipment is too far from the ground and there was nothing to cushion our son's fall. Do you think we have a claim against the school? Nunzio, what would you say in the first instance to this? I mean, sounds like there would be a claim to me. But...
Oh, look, I think there definitely is. What would have to do, though, is probably get an engineer out there to see, I suppose, the setup of the playground and see if it's breaching any regulations. But if it is, I would have thought that's a fairly strong claim, Tony, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. There's... there'd be future cost of treatment.
Yep.
There's, I don't know if you could argue, speculative potential loss of income in the future.
Again, depending what his aspirations are, it's hard to know what they
reasonably significant pain and suffering.
Oh, of course, for a kid at that age.
Probably can't play footy, cricket, who knows? You know, it's an interesting one. I think you'd really want to look into this.
And as we know, with teachers and students, so they've got a high duty to schools, and in this case, if they've put a kid at risk, I think that they might pay for it.
A lot of these play gyms and other places like that, you'll find that they've got cushioning at the bottom. You know, that real soft stuff.
The soft matting.
I'm investigating one at the moment where the guys had socks and slipped. That's interesting.
Oh, that's because they don't normally allow you to wear shoes though, Tony, but a playground's a little bit different to that. I mean...
Yeah, but socks are slippery.
They are.
They usually are.
Thank you for pointing that out.
No, but I'm saying, I don't think it's a safe system of, looking after your kids.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe they need to go. Well, you can come up with some new footwear for playgrounds, Tony.
Yeah, actually, that might be a new range.
Why not? Okay, I think it's time that we end this for tonight. We have lots more questions to get through, but we'll try and get to them next episode. Viewers, thank you for writing into us, and we urge you to keep writing in. Our email address is info@thepishow.com, and please catch us on earlier episodes at www.thepishow.com. And boys, thank you again for having me tonight.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Nunzio. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, viewers. Stay safe and stay tuned for next week. Thank you.